pick up on all the action, it is James Whittam and Jack Burnicle.
Fabulous day here. The temperature up towards a scorching 30 degrees in the southeast of England. It's yet another perfect weekend, and at Brands Hatch, an almost perfect weekend for Josh Brooks. He's won the first race. He's second on the grid behind the unfortunate James Ellison, who fell in race 1, but nonetheless set the fastest lap of the race. Shaky Byrne, who fell a lot more spectacularly, is on the outside of the front row of the grid with his rebuilt ZXR10 Kawasaki, with Yuichi Kianari heading up the second row of the grid. So it's a fascinating lineup, because this race in prospect, of course, it's going to be another big one. It's going to be an 18-lapper. At the moment, the standings look like this. Shaky Byrne has a 10-point advantage over Josh Brooks, who in turn has climbed back into second place past the man he beat in race 1, Samsung Honda's Alex Lowes. James Ellison's Milwaukee Yamaha is still there in 4th place, ahead of Yuichi Kianari by a single point. John Kirkham has only 1-point advantage over his teammate James Westmoreland, 7th in the championship last year, 7th in the championship this year, but wanting more. Chris Walker, unfortunate in race 1, remains on 75 points, ahead of PJ Jacobson and Keith Farmer. Outside the top 10, we've got Peter Hickman, Tommy Bridewell and Howie Mainwaring level with Jakob Smertz, with Josh Waters a point further back for Milwaukee Yamaha. Dan Linfoot 16th, ahead of Michael Rutter, Matteo Baiocco, Robin Harms and Carl Harris. The grid: James Ellison on pole position, number 77, Milwaukee Yamaha. 2nd place for number 2, Josh Brooks. 3rd place, number 22, Alex Lowes. 4th place, the reigning champion, Shane Byrne. The second row, Yuichi Kianari, ahead of the ever-improving PJ Jacobson, James Westmoreland and Chris Walker. The third row, headed by the man still clinging on to 6th place in the championship, John Kirkham, ahead of Michael Rutter, Dan Linfoot and Howie Mainwaring on the MH Kawasaki. And the 4th row, Keith Farmer, Jakob Smertz, Peter Hickman and Halsall Racing's Lee Costello. 24 riders on the grid altogether, right back to Michael Howarth. Jenny Tinmouth, of course, ahead of Howarth in 23rd place on the grid. Matteo Baiocco, after a brief outing in the first race, has to start from the back row alongside Danny Buchan. Number 2, Josh Brooks, Taiko Suzuki, race winner last time out. Can he do it again? Well, the Australian finally breaking his duck big time. James Ellison, he needs something to happen. Shane Byrne will be furious with himself from race 1. Look at the angle of Josh Brooks as he sprints towards the first turn. But Shaky Byrne, would you believe it? 4th on the grid, 1st into the first turn. A brilliant start from the reigning champion. James Ellison's with him. So too is Alex Lowes. Who else? Ellison just squeezed out as they go around Druids, but Alex Lowes goes well wide and he has to try and dive back down. Look at Ellison surging downhill into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend, 2nd behind Shaky Byrne.
Yeah, and we know that Ellison has the pace. He qualified pole purely because he put the fastest lap in race 1, obviously, so he can do the times. He got flustered in race 1, got caught up with the rider who was trying to overtake. In that case, it was Chris Walker. Unfortunate Chris Walker, because that's cost him any chance of getting into the top 6. And like I say, he's riding pretty well, is Chris.
As they go surging through Hawthorne's Bend now, that heavy braking almost uphill into Hawthorne. Shaky Byrne, 67, just leads it from Milwaukee Yamaha's James Ellison, the former MotoGP riding Cumbrian. Right behind him, Alex Lowes, and look at them spinning up through Dingle Dell there. Good start from Jakob Smertz from way down on the grid. As we watch Shaky Byrne from 4th on the grid lead the way through Stirling's Bend.
I love how you say spinning up. Have you ever done any spinning up, Jack? Did you do that on your James Captain? I bet you did when it was icy.
Yes, I did. Fell off it usually.
Oh, here we go.
Alex Lowes on the Samsung Honda.
Ellison's having a look. He just... Ellison's got the pace. You just feel he needs to just kind of bite the bullet a little bit and just have a go.
Thankfully, we've got no jump start, so everybody's out there for real. Shaky Byrne and Alex Lowes, Josh Brooks, Yuichi Kianari. PJ Jacobson's made a good start. Walker in 7th, Westmoreland in 8th, ahead of his teammate. That's a fight going on for that top 6. And Kirkham 9th, ahead of Rutter. Linfoot, a better start this time, and Mainwaring in 12th. Smertz has jumped up to 13th, ahead of Farmer and Hickman. Once again, this huge plunge. Can you believe? I still can't get my head around the fact that at that point is the hardest pressure on the brake to come uphill from 175 miles an hour down to 75 on the entrance to that right-hander at Hawthorne Bend.
Yeah, oh, Ellison's getting a run now. It's a difficult place to pass. We've seen it done, though.
Shaky Byrne just looking as relaxed and accomplished as ever at the front, as if nothing ever happened.
Exactly, and do you know what? That's one thing you've got to be able to do. And a rider of his ability and experience, you must be able to put an incident like that behind you, not let it affect you. Even when you're rattling up towards that same piece of track, even when it really was his own fault, you know, he knew he did something wrong, you've still got to ignore that. And it's difficult to do, but to be at this level, you've got to do that.
The front four already edging in, and as in race one, James, Chianari not quite with the pace to live with them. Byrne's already on a 1:26.72, fastest lap of the race so far, and they're edging away from Chianari with Jacobson, Walker, Westmoreland, Kirkham.
Yeah, and PJ Jacobson is looking for a way past Chianari now. He's had a bit of a look at Paddock Hill and a little bit of a look at Druids as well.
He said that he was telling you on the grid, James, that they'd lost quite a bit of time during free practice over the weekend. So he's, you know, he's still just learning his way around here. But he actually learned quite a lot from watching the other guys when he wasn't able to be back on track.
Yeah, he's a clever lad, and that's what you've got to do. But you know, one thing you do need when you come into circuits at this level of racing for the first time, like PG is just about every weekend, is you mustn't miss anything. You've got to get every single lap you can. You don't need anything going wrong with the bike, otherwise you really are on the back foot.
Certainly getting further onto the front foot now as the challengers in sixth place. Chianari ahead of him, Chris Walker and James Westmoreland just behind him. And actually, Chianari is just completely dishing what I've just said, because he's now edging in on that front four.
I know, I called it completely wrong as well, sorry. But,
so,
I mean,
interesting to check his lap at the end of this one.
He would be. Yuichi Chianari was definitely disappointed with his podium. He was saying that he only got it because Shane Byrne fell off. He didn't want to do that. He was disappointed with his pace. And to be honest, when you've won as many championships and been as quick as he has, you're going to be disappointed with that.
Fastest man on track that lap, 1:26.72, Chianari.
Yep.
And there he is on bike number 23, the former champion, closing the gap, the reigning Asian Supersport 600 champion.
There he is.
Wanted to get back into British Superbikes. I think, you know, he's still a relatively young man, James. He's still got ambitions on rebuilding his career after it all went a little bit pear-shaped. Look at this, Chris Walker now then. He's attacking John Kirkham.
Now that's the other way around, you know, and Walker's struggling. He's dropped behind Westmoreland. The problem with Walker is, you know, that Quattro Plank Kawasaki was well bent in that incident with James Ellison down at Graham Hill Bend. And do you know, that isn't Paul Bird Motorsport. They haven't got unlimited funds just to chuck parts at the bike and have the sub-assemblies built up and the manpower just to throw men at it. And I suspect there's something wrong. Not wrong, but something not just quite perfect with Walker's bike.
You're right, James. He's already dropped back behind Dan Linfoot. So Chris Walker, desperately unfortunate, is beginning to motor backwards a bit in this race.
Yeah, but it doesn't take much, you know, just a sensor in the wrong place, causing some glitch with the electric system, or just something not in line, or something forgotten, or, you know, I'm not casting aspersions on the team whatsoever, but it doesn't take much to be a little bit off the pace like Chris seems to be, and I don't think it's his fault. He
really didn't look comfortable into Sterling's there, James.
Do you think?
That wasn't his style, was it?
Well, he didn't look injured. I haven't had a chance to speak to him because it's been a bit of a manic day as Ellison looks at the inside of Byrne into Druids.
No, what I meant was if he's not comfortable
with
on the bike.
Yes, I think he got up all right. I don't think he's bodily damaged at all, but yeah, it doesn't take much wrong with these bikes at this level to have an effect on performance.
1:26.8, a tenth quicker on that lap. James Ellison sitting right in now behind Shaky Byrne.
Yeah.
And James, you were absolutely right, because Chris Walker has realised that there is something wrong with the bike. That's going to be a terrible blow, a double DNF today for Chris Walker when he was running so strongly in sixth in the championship in the first half of the season.
And you know what? He's running good enough to be in that. On merit, he's running well good enough to be in that top six and into the showdown. It's been a lot of bad luck. And when it's always bad luck or somebody else hitting him, it doesn't ever seem to be Chris's fault, you know, and them's a lot harder to cope with than it is when you make a mistake.
Ellison looking as if he's just, at the moment, James, he looks as if he's sitting very, very comfortable, almost biding his time behind Shaky Byrne, and he's got Alex Lowe's behind him, isn't making any attacking moves at the moment. The front 5 are sitting fairly comfortably in that order, with Jacobsen in a little bit of a bubble on his own at the moment ahead of Westmoreland.
And although temperatures have gone up, the sun's out, which means the temperature on track goes up, all the way up.
Wow. That's Lee Costello.
It is Lee Costello, yeah.
Oh, he had such a good first race ride, and he'd started well on the Halsell racing Kawasaki. Is it Paddock Hill Bend?
No, I don't think it is, because that's where they are now.
Sorry, I thought that was a read.
I think that's possibly Clearways. I think that'd be about the Clearways area anyway. Well,
so Chris Walker pulls out, and poor Lee Costello throws himself out at Clearways. Winner at Silverstone, of course, in the Superstock Championship race last year, as James Ellison once again lets Shaky know he's there.
Now this, I was talking about the track temperature going up with the sun coming out. Now that maybe that's had an effect, but this isn't as fast a race just as what the first race was. Fastest race, lap in race 1. Ellison early on in the race did 26.2. Oh, safety car's out. That's for the Lee Costello incident. But this race, they haven't gone below 26.7 yet. So it's half a second slower than race 1. So far. Safety car's out. That's Lowe's putting his hand up. Rest of the lads. The reason you do that is because oh, here we go.
Oh, it's at the outside of Sheen Curve.
It is, it's Sheen Curve. It isn't Clearways. It was a couple of corners before. Yeah, and that was Lee Costello being stretched off. Now, I can tell you that the way they were moving him is a good sign. Yeah, he's on a stretcher, but they wouldn't even think about moving him unless, you know, he was fit to be moved. If there's any question whatsoever about any kind of head, back and neck injuries, they wouldn't even shift him at all. So that's a good sign.
So hopefully the sturdy little man from Bolton will be okay as we watch Shaky Byrne lead across at the end of lap 6 into lap 7. 1/3 race distance, and this gives the chance for everybody else, James, to regroup behind that top 4.
To be fair, you know, there's not a lot of regrouping to be done, because there's only just over a second covered, you know, not so many. It wasn't a really spread out race anyway.
No, so what I was thinking was the guys be outside that top 5 or so.
Yeah, to get back on terms,
to give themselves another run.
I mean, the fact is it splits into people who are going as fast as each other, and it's probably the same thing's going to happen. But we were having a good race for the front.
There's a fit young chap.
He wants to be doing a bit.
I tell you what, he'll be working up a sweat.
He needs to be doing a bit more of that, I reckon. Sorry.
Now then, Shaky Byrne leads the way then, but looks back over his shoulder. Now, what's Shaky's tactic going to be, eh?
I don't know. I mean, if anybody's got the experience to, you know, to make a break from a restart or a safety car. They haven't caught up with the safety car yet. That'll be in front of them somewhere. They will wait till they're bunched up. Even if the track is clear, they'll wait till the leaders get behind the safety car before they even think about bringing it back in.
Shaky Byrne leads the way, and he absolutely, at Snetterton when this happened, he absolutely bunched them up, James, until the last possible second, and then hit the button going up the hill, off up that long drag up the hill. So I wonder what he'll decide to do this time.
I don't know. They've got at least another lap, because the safety car lights on the roof are still on, so they've got at least another lap. And he's, I won't say mucking about, but he's obviously working to a plan again. When the safety car lights go out, which I suspect they might be out now, once it goes to the start and finish, they'll decide whether they're going to bring it in almost a full lap afterwards. If the lights are out, it will come in at the end of this lap, and then, so it will come in at the end of this lap. Shaky will be working to a plan now. He's relaxed. He was relaxed off the start. He's more relaxed on the grid for race 2, having had the incident in race 1 than he was for race 1. I don't understand that, but that's a measure of the man.
He'd lost any of the pressure of having to achieve a 50th race win, I think. Hey, I tell you what, how well is his wife Petra looking?
Yeah,
she's even back running.
Yeah, and we're all pleased for that. A bit of a health scare back at Knockhill, and I know that, I mean, what we saw was a really worried Shane Byrne, and we don't often see that. Yeah, she's back, and he says it just isn't the same race weekends without her, and I think she's only missed one ever since they've been together, and that was Knockhill, so...
So Lee Costello has a little bit of back pain, but he's comfortable and talking to the medic, so that's really great news that he's in good shape. As we watch all this, look at this. Slow moving, they look like a bunch of aeroplanes waiting to take off. So Byrne, Ellison, Lowe's, Brooks, Kianari, Jacobsen, Westmoreland, Kirkham, Linfoot, Mainwaring, Incidentally, there are several very, very small baby-like children around, including the main-wearing Smarts, as well as the Smertzers and the Tommy Hills and everybody around the place at the moment.
Couple of things you've got to watch for when the safety car's out. You're not pushing as hard, tyres cool down a little bit. We saw Shane Byrne there on the Minter Straight weaving from one side to another, try and keep a bit of heat in those tyres. So when the safety car does come in, just now, just in about another 20 seconds, he can bang and go straight and know he's got the grip.
He's pulled out pretty. He's pulled the pin early, and it seemed to me that Ellison wasn't bothering keeping very much with him. Now he's slowed it up again.
Yeah, I thought Ellison was sleeping a little bit, or playing it cool at least. Now they're together. Now he can't overtake until the line, and away they go.
Now he howls it onto the Brabham Straight in every sense except the real sense. Drops it over that cliff edge into Paddock Hill Bend. And it's Byrne, Ellison, Lowe's, Brooks, Kianari, the front five. Jacobson, Westmoreland and Kirkham on those red BMWs. Absolutely side by side up the hill. I've got a feeling Kirkham grabbed the advantage from his smaller teammate then.
I think he got the best of the pace car the safety car coming in, did Kirkham. And it is Kirkham in front of his teammate. You can tell the difference in the helmet. More green is Kirkham, more yellow helmet is Westmoreland.
So Byrne, Ellison, Lowe's, Brooks, the front four. There's Jacobson leading the two red build-based BMWs who are having their own fight over that final showdown place.
I was just going to say, and you'd probably just about tip the wink to Westmoreland the way they're going at the minute. He's looking at the inside of his teammate just there going into Hawthorne. I saw it in the back of the shot. He hasn't got it though.
So Shaky Byrne restarts the race on the 9th lap of 18, so he's suddenly virtually at half race distance. And Yuichi Kianari is looking like he's going to hang on to these guys as he was earlier on. Josh Brooks right there behind Alex Lowe's.
A big crash. That's a red and white. By that could be Smertz. No, it's Smertz, I think.
Is it Jakob Smertz?
I think it's Gilbert.
It's Jakob Smertz.
It's a Paget bike.
Yeah. Paget's Honda's gone down big time at Sheen Curve. Oh, I hope he's okay, because he's here for the first time with his family.
Watch the back of the shot. There it is, and he's actually lost the front quite early on as you tip into Sheen Curve. Good load of run off there. That's it still hurts though.
So that'll have given Carter and Baby Jasmine a little bit of he's okay. Good news. He's up on his feet.
As a tough lad, he's cool, but.
So Shaky Byrne then, James Ellison. Where was
Where are we? Where am I?
I don't know. I'm absolutely lost for words. Shaky Byrne leads the way. It's been a long day. James Ellison second. Third place for Alex Lowe's, with Brooks right behind. Kianari right in the mix there. Brooks, James, doesn't seem to have that pace that he had in the first race to really challenge these front men. I agree, because you know that if he's got anything like the pace, he doesn't sit tight and make a plan up, he just goes. Yeah. You know, one thing that Josh always does is push as fast and as hard as he can all the time. So we're now on to the 10th lap of 18, so half race distance, with Byrne setting the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, 126.661. Just to edge out a little bit. There's the scrum down for built-based BMWs, the two red ones behind PJ Jacobson. Yeah, and whoever beats each other in this Kirkham stroke Westmoreland build-based BMW battle will take 6th in the championship now. And you know that the second of those two red bikes, James Westman, he knows what it's like to be best of the rest, because he was 7th in the championship and eliminated from the showdown in the closing stages of last year. Yeah. Good rider is James Westman, you know, we keep saying it. Lacks a little bit of aggression. I apologise for saying that, but I do feel that is true sometimes. You know, aggression compared to his actual riding ability, he sometimes lacks a little bit, but he's definitely got a smile on his face and a spring in his step now. I've never known him talk so much on the grid, or in general. The front three definitely have got a bit of a breakaway on it. Looks as if Alex Lowe's is getting keen to see if he can find a way past Ellison in pursuit of Byrne, because Byrne is definitely trying to break the opposition right now, although Lowe set the fastest lap of the race, 126.278 on that last lap. And that's getting down to some really good times now. That's matching the times from race 1. That shows how accurate you were when you paused and said so far, when you said the race hadn't been as quick as race 1 so far. Well, I don't know. Have you got a crystal ball hidden somewhere down your trousers? I beg your pardon. I'm not even going to answer that. Byrne, Ellison and Lowe's lead Josh Brooks. Kianari, then this batch with PJ Jacobson impressing more and more now on the superbike, ahead of the two build-based BMWs who are pretty brilliant themselves, and then Linfoot there ahead of Mainwaring.
There's Kirkham and Westmoreland as the leaders flash of the start and finish.
Outside the top 10, we've got Keith Farmer, Michael Rutter, Josh Waters picking up speed all the time, James. It must just be a case of getting more familiar with a track like this for the Australian champion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big ask. He's in a similar position to PJ Jacobson. Not probably had the best run at it. He had a big crash at Thruxton and knocked him back, hurt himself a little bit. But, yeah, not an easy thing to do in a championship that's... Hey, what we're looking at now. Oh, that's Carl Harris, that. Oh, dear. Yep. Motocross experience coming into play there.
Yes, well and truly. Yeah. So kicking up a roost for everybody else. Ellison once again has just clawed that little bit of space back on that. Kawasaki is quick downhill, James.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is.
And he probably doesn't want to be in a position to be trying an overtaking manoeuvre into Hawthorns again.
I asked the rapid solicitors crew, was it bent? How bad was it? Was it easy? Were you pushing the sort of limits of time? They said no, it's all right. We've got everything all sort of ready for it, and we had to work a little bit, but there wasn't a problem time-wise. This is on the first race crash of Shane Byrne. And they said the biggest thing they had to put in was a swing arm. It had bent the swing arm. Obviously, it wouldn't steer so well with the bent swing arm. It'd go around in circles. And yeah, they said it wasn't a problem. Very professional team that's been around a long time.
Alex Lowes putting absolutely everything on the tarmac there, squirming through Clark Curve right behind James Ellison, and now getting increasingly impatient to find a way through.
Yeah.
On the 13th of 18 laps. So we've now completed 2/3 race distance.
That's the critical mass as far as if the race has got to be rerunner in a two-part or will count a result. If it got stopped now, it is a result.
126.7 Byrne, 126.76 for Ellison, 126.6 for Lowes.
And look at that, Mainwaring, Howie Mainwaring's up there in 10th again, another top 10 finish for him. And his team, the new team, it does something like amazing kind of effort this weekend from him.
I think fatherhood does things to people. It either works in one way or the other.
Yeah, well, the biggest kid in the team is Michael Howarth, who's running the shop, to be honest.
He is.
Good lad, though, real good lad.
I said to him, Howie, you know what? You look really good. Your style, look, you may not have the greatest speed, but you've got a really nice style going around here.
He said he didn't know what to
Oh, no, as soon as we've said that, look, Howie's under observation, possible technical problem.
Oh. Well, this is... just to clarify, Howie Mainwaring, that's his name, that's his actual name. He's running for MH Kawasaki in 10th, but Michael Howarth is also known as Howie. He is lying 20th, and it is actually Mainwaring's bike line in 10th. It's under investigation.
I've just remembered, by the way, that his new mother-in-law said he's now Howie Mainwaring Smart, and could we give him his full name?
He's not that smart, I'll tell you. But his bike has had a slight oil leak at times over the weekend. They thought they'd fixed it by putting a new clutch cover on, maybe not.
So on the 14th of 18 laps, oh, and there's Howie now pulling over. Oh, shame. That's so frustrating, eh?
It is, but it's already been a good weekend for the lad, really, and the team. So, yeah, well done to them.
That will elevate Keith Farmer into 10th place. It would also elevate the hard-riding Italian champ Matteo Baiocco into the points as they go howling once again down Pilgrim's Drop. Josh definitely hasn't got the pace he had in race one.
No.
He's running flat 127s, just a couple of tenths off the pace of these three guys at the front. James Ellison, well and truly on the case there with Shane Byrne. The
problem with James is we know how quick he is, but he needs to do this from Friday. It just takes a load of time to get ready. No, they've had issues.
Now suddenly, he was shaky. Takes a huge swoop into Stirling's Bend.
I don't want to do James Ellison a disservice, but he needs to get going early, and he has the pace to do all this.
Catapulting round clearways on the Clark Curve and on to the Brabham Straight. Now we've completed 14 of 18 laps, 4 left to decide this, the second race and possibly the 49th British Superbike race win for local boy Sittingbourne's Shaky Byrne.
Sittingbourne sounds ever so posh, but it can't be if Shaky's from there.
Westmoreland has got the better of Kirkham. He's moved into 6th place. 7th Kirkham, 8th Jacobson. Both got the better of Jacobson. Linfoot is now harrying the American, although actually he's about a second and a half behind him. Keith Farmer in 10th.
I told you James Westmoreland, number 27, would be fancying a little bit of that 6 in the championship, and that's exactly what he'd get should he finish in front of the man behind him, his teammate Kirkham. Lovely.
Michael Rutter in 11th place. Josh Waters now up to 12th. There's the relative gaps just moving back downfield. Looking at John Kirkham here with PJ Jacobson right behind him. So can the pint-sized American do anything about the 6'3" Derbyshireman? I don't know about that, because I think Kirkham will be focused on teammate Westmoreland.
Yeah, and I think they've just both passed in the last couple of laps. They've just both passed the New Yorker Jacobson.
Wonderful noise. I was just listening to them howling out of Stirling's Bend there. It sounds great. Harmonious.
Yeah.
So we'll have 3 laps to go at the end of this one. On to lap 16 goes Shaky Byrne.
Oof. Big lock-up going into Paddock Hill there for Shane Byrne. It's cost him a tiny bit of time. Bound to tell you.
Again, Ellison seemed to have the drive for a moment up Halewood Hill.
Yeah, well, we're going to see, because I think these are going to stay together till the end, and we're going to see what James Ellison has got. Is he going to want to push? He's 4th in the championship. Is he going to think that's good enough? Don't know.
The Milwaukee Yam